Big 12 starting, do you kind of feel like you're throwing your toddler or infant into the deep end of the swimming pool to see what happens?
Yeah, it's a little scary. There's no doubt. We had planned to have the exhibition game at Wichita. We had, thought you were going to have a game at Butler. Those were going to be your road games and your, games in the Cayman Islands. So you would have had some experience of being on the road. Obviously, the road is a little different. I'm not sure if they're having fans or how many fans. I don't think it's quite as much a factor. I just told another group I watched the NFL, and you see that. To me, the home field advantage is usually the pass rushers and getting to the quarterback and putting pressure, and you just don't see it as much there. So I hope that a little bit of a factor. I told our coaches, don't even bring up that we're going on the road. They don't need to think about it anymore or make that. They got enough things to worry about. So it's, obviously we played better offensively the other day. And some of that, you make shots, you look better, you get assists. But I thought we shared the ball. We did some video clips that we share with recruits, and it looked pretty good. Now, can we get better defensively, in a hurry? Because right now we're not very good defensively. And so we'll see if they grow up and can deal with, playing in the Big 12 very early without a lot of experience and then trying to play a road game right away.
The game the other day on Friday had to be encouraging because so many of those young guys seemed to step up after what happened the game prior. How did they respond in practice following that?
I thought we had a great practice before Wisconsin Milwaukee, Saturday we just it was a late game, so we came back, did weights, watched film, did some individual work, and just kind of reviewed some things that we haven't got to practice. I mean, one of the most impressive things to me in the game, and it's taken for granted, just getting the ball in bounds. Mike had to get it in bounds on the side, I think 4 straight times. Rudy had to get it in bounds. And those are things, I'm just being totally honest with you, we had not practiced because we didn't have time to practice it. So for those guys to do that, we always say you got to make basketball plays. They made basketball plays. So, we've had a little more time. They've been I think the practices have been good. Yesterday was good. We went hard. It was more us yesterday. Obviously this afternoon, it's going to be more your preparation for Iowa State, all the things we need to worry about, before we jump on the plane.
You went young on Friday with 3 freshmen, a sophomore, and your senior. Is that something you might repeat?
Yeah, Antonio was out last week. He had some, a little bit of a illness, a situation that he had to deal with, not COVID, but he had something. So he missed a couple days. So, he was back yesterday playing pretty well, and hopefully we can have him in there. But, I think that group they played well together. They deserve to do it, to be back out there, and hopefully they'll keep making progress.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question to Kellis Robinette.
Yeah, Bruce, I know, you've been complimentary of Davion on offense, maybe not so much on defense. Where is he at right now? I mean, it seemed like he took some nice steps forward in that last one.
Well, I think a lot of it is confidence, and I've said before, he's a great young man. He's got a big, big heart. His life has not been the easiest, but he's done well. That actually, I kind of joke with him. I said, have you ever played that many minutes in any game in your career? And he said, no. And so that was the most minutes. He actually asked out one time, and I just said no. And then I called a timeout to rest him, to give him a little rest, because Carlton is just, with limited practice, he's struggling with the defensive part, the ball screens. It's going to take him a little bit of time. And Davion was doing well. He's made I wouldn't tell you and I always said Mac was one of the better ball screen defenders in the country. I would not tell you that about Davion right now, but he's starting to understand. It's hard. It's hard for big guys. I just talked with the TV people, and we talked about playing big guys or versus small ball. And, big guys really got to be active in ball screens if they're going to play, and especially against older good guards like we're going to face this week in Iowa State and Baylor.
What are your thoughts on the Big 12 right now? Does it look hard as ever?
Oh yes, I mean it's scary, especially for a young team. Fitz just said throwing them into the pool or whatever, with the wolves or whatever. So, but you got to go through it. We went through it with young group with Barry, Dean, Cam, those guys. They took their lumps, but all of a sudden they became older. King McClure is doing the game, and we just did a Zoom with him, and King goes, "You guys when I played, you always seemed like you had old guys." And I said, "Well, Barry, Dean, and Cam weren't old. They were freshmen at one time, and so it's part of the process. And I wish we had a little more seasoned veterans to go along with it, but right now we don't. So those guys they all want to play, so they're getting a chance, and they're getting a chance, with conference games very, very early."
And with Monty, is he likely out one more time here?
Yeah, I would anticipate it. He actually went to the doctor. This morning, I have not talked to Luke because we just tested, and Luke has now you got to go. He's got to go, check all the tests and all that stuff. So I haven't had a chance to talk to him and see what the doctors have come up with and his parents, and we'll see where he's at.
All right. Thanks, Bruce.
Next question to Adam Meyer.
Coach, now heading into conference play so far, Mike McGrory's averaged 14.5 points per game. Just how pleased are you with everything he's done for this team on the court and off the court so far?
Well, it means a lot to him, and he knows he's worked very hard to get to this point. I've talked about before how him and Dejuan came back early, even though they couldn't get in the facilities for almost 2 months, and he wants to have a really, really successful season for our team and for himself. What I like the progress over the last couple games is he's much more efficient, and I think I'm trying to get him to understand he doesn't have to put the whole team on his back. He had a pretty good game against Drake. I thought he forced a few times. After that, the next couple games, I think he just thought he had to make all the plays, and I loved on Friday night to have 8 assists and 1 turnover. And then his efficiency shooting has been much better the last few games. And, so that's the kind of progress, I think it's important for him. He's still, I know he's a senior, and he's got his, as much experience as anyone we've had, but, freshman year, he didn't really play much. And, this is a totally new role for him. So he's got to figure some of that out also himself. And I'm just pleased what he's done. Let the offense come, take what they give you, and help lead our team. If he'll do that, he's going to be successful, and it's going to give us a chance to be successful.
When Mike was a freshman, he redshirted most of it until it got burned late in the season.
Yeah.
Did you imagine him developing into his role he is now as a senior?
Well, I always thought, we recruited him. I thought he had pretty good bounce. He had he could score the basketball. He loved to play, great work ethic. Very, very driven, and he's intelligent, and he's going to basically done with his business degree. And I think he's got, maybe 1 class left. So, I had high hopes for him. It was a little bit bumpy along the way, but he stuck with it. His family stayed with it, and supported him and encouraged him. And, all along, I have really felt bad, and I've told him numerous times, I feel bad about his freshman year. And when they announced he could, everyone could come back, next year, it really made me feel good for him. And he was one of the first persons I called, just because, I've always said, I wish I could give you back that year. And when I called him, I said, hey, this is, it's, obviously you don't want it because of COVID and all the other stuff, but, for him, it's a great opportunity and to, really become the player he had hoped and we had hoped and have great success.
Next question to Jackson Snyder.
Yeah, hey, Coach, you kind of touched just a second ago there on that extra year that's coming up after everything this year. Just how big is that going to be for your team developmentally, having this year and then that extra year tacked on?
Well, I said it, I think last week or the week before, basically you think about Dejuan and Antonio and Monty and Casey, they're all freshmen right now. And you add into the freshmen now. So it's, you obviously you could have everybody back for next year's team. I think that's a really positive thing. Obviously, you got to keep them together. You got to stay positive with them and help them. And when we signed this group, obviously we didn't have any idea about COVID. We thought we were going to have, probably 3-4 seniors on our team. We thought these guys could blend in and not have the type of role, but now, this is what has happened, and deal with it and make the best of the situation. Life's paths are not always perfect, and sometimes you said a couple weeks ago, you don't always get what you want from life, but you get what you need, and that's experience, and that's what we're getting right now.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question to Grant Flanders.
Hey, Coach. I just feel like we didn't really bring this up after the game unless I missed it. Milwaukee, that being the place where you went to school and everything, how was it playing them for the first time and getting that win?
Well, I have faced them before. I've actually at SIU and then also at Illinois to go to the Elite Eight, and now. So it's not something new. Obviously, a lot of pride that I had an opportunity to go to school there to get a degree that's given me a chance to have a special life and family and experiences that I'd never dreamed of as a young child. And so I really appreciate the school and the opportunity there. And I'm just happy we won, so I didn't have to get gruff from all my buddies that we grew up. We all almost, I'd say I probably have 10 guys I grew up with that all went there. So, just we all appreciate the opportunity. It's always given us a chance to have nice lives. But I'm happy we got a chance to win.
And what is the scouting report on Iowa State this year?
They're somewhat like us because they have a lot of new players. But but their new players are older. They, transfers, and you do have the guy that seems like he's been there forever, Solomon Young. If you remember, as a freshman, came in here, had I think a double, and they kicked our butt. And he's had some good, really good games. When they go to him, he's a man inside. He can score. He didn't have quite the punch he had against Iowa. Obviously, Iowa has one of the best big guys in the country, if not the best one. And then you got Bolton, who's, as a freshman, I think averaged 14 at Penn State or 12 or something. And he can score the basketball. And then Johnson, the other transfer wing, can score the basketball. So we're going to have to keep them in front of us. We're going to have to do a good job in the post. Big challenge for Davion and Carlton and Surrey. We're going to have to give them help. And then, our offense was much better against Wisconsin, Milwaukee. We talked about that, 20 assists, 29 field goals, shot 50-some%, 40, good 40s and 3. But we got to get better defensively. And I wish I had a magic wand and said we're going to do that, but it's, all the habits, the drills, the concepts, the desire, all those things. It's going to take a little time, but I hope each game we get a little better. I think how we defend a 3 will be really, really important in that game.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question to Kellis Robinette.
Yeah, Bruce, I wanted to ask you, how have you guys been in contact with Baylor at all about their situation? I know they've had to postpone some stuff. What's that looking like for the
Well, the Big 12 called us, I think it was Saturday, and called Casey Scott and said that right now they're on pause. The game is still up in the air. I told our coaches yesterday after practice, I said, hey, if somebody has a chance, call Alvin Brooks and just check in. I know the trainers have talked. I still think they feel like they might have an opportunity to play against us, but it's still up in the air, obviously, by the continuing the testing that everybody has to go through.
Okay.
The new rule with the CDC, with the contact tracing, gives you a little better chance. And each county, each city's a little different, each state. But with the 7 days and then the 8-day negative test, if they got contact tracing, it probably gives them a little better chance.
But I assume you guys will prepare like the game's on until you hear otherwise, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're planning, we still got our test this morning. So, and Iowa State probably had the test today. So, every day there's a lot of stress in this whole thing, and you can't, it makes it much more difficult to prepare, but we'll come, get back Wednesday morning, because you got to drive to Des Moines and fly back, but we'll have off on Wednesday because the NCAA rules, and then hopefully, be ready to prepare Thursday, Friday. You hope you have a better idea by then, getting ready. The coaches are doing their prep that they need to do. So we hopefully be ready to go when we get back together here on Wednesday.